All right, now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast, episode number 25. I am Jason LaPorte. My man Zack Partridge is in the house as always. Sir, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am fabulous. I'm super, super excited that the gyms are opening on Friday. I can't not tell you how happy I am.
Okay, to deviate though, Kevin Patton just posted something that somebody else that like MMA gyms and stuff like that, martial arts gyms, technically aren't supposed to be opening yet. Did you see that?
We can bend the rules a little bit.
I'm bending the rules already.
I know you have been. So we have a special guest today.
Yes, sir.
Our first female MMA fighter is on the podcast today with us. Jocelyn Kaufman, right?
Yep.
Said it right? Jocey, you go by Jocey though, right?
Yeah.
Jocey J. Kaufman. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
It's good to have you on here. You're our first female MMA guest. Well,
Nice.
we had
First female guest.
We had Tess
Oh,
on
we had Tess.
with Cole, but so you're the first single
Solo.
Solo.
Yeah, solo.
That's the
I shouldn't say
better
single.
word.
Let me rephrase that.
I mean, I
solo.
am single, but
Solo and single. So everybody that's listening,
Want to
yeah,
get beat up.
there's a checklist for. Just kidding.
yeah, you better be super careful swiping right on Jocey's because she'll tap your ass out.
So what have you?
Oh,
Go ahead.
Zach.
I was just going to say, what have you been up to with all this?
I have been going on a ton of hikes, doing a lot of running, at-home workouts, and sparring in backyards on tarps. So.
All right.
Who you sparring with?
Some of my teammates, just a couple of us, we get together and we just put a tarp on the backyard and spar, and it's not too bad unless you get taken down super hard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would be.
But it's really not that bad. I don't mind it.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm out on grappling on the ground.
There's something about you guys out there in Tooele, Jocey. I don't know what it is, but there's something in the water out there.
We're just willing to do whatever, right?
Yes.
Put up a tarp and started punching each other.
So I know Zach's going to have a ton of questions for you. I got my question for you, which we're going to have a lot, but what got you started into MMA? Because you played softball in college, right? And pro?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started into MMA.
Yeah, so I played softball my whole life. I played since I was 5, and when I was like 10 years old, I decided that it was something that I could go really far in, and I kind of got the concept of like I wanted to work harder than everyone else on my team, and I always wanted to be putting in a little bit extra than everyone else I knew. And so that kind of just translated perfectly. But I went to college, played 4 years of college, and then I played professionally in Sweden. And it was actually really cool because we won the Sweden gold.
Oh,
and
nice.
Then we went to the European Cup, and we played against like a bunch of Olympians, and that was a really cool experience. And I got paid to travel all over Europe.
Can't beat that.
Nope. And then I came back and I was assistant coaching at the college that I played for. And they did an alumni versus amateur boxing, like smoker, 3 1-minute rounds. And no girls ever like really do it. And my coach was like, Josh, you have to do it. It's like, I don't really know if I want to like get punched in the face. But she's like, well, I'm signing you up. And then she signed me up without me even asking. And she's like, but you can get free. You can go and train with this gym for free for a month. And I was like, oh, sweet. Like, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it was on my bucket list to get in a fight. So I figured, why not have it sanctioned, and like not have to get in trouble.
Not have to get in trouble and have a ref there to make sure it doesn't go too far, make sure nobody dies.
Yeah. But so that night I went home. I was like, holy cow, I can't believe that I'm gonna have to do this in front of a bunch of people. And one of my roommates at the time, his name's Chance, he was like, here, I'll hold pads for you. And he had no idea what he was doing. But I didn't know this at the time, so I was just doing it and doing burpees in the living room like that same night. And then since then, I've just been training every day. And I moved back to Utah after a couple months of training out there with that gym. They were called Team Wolfpack in Montana. And I moved back, and then I called up Keith and I told him, hey, I think I like want to fight. Can I come in?
Did you know him before time?
No, but I went to high school with Boomer.
Okay.
So I knew Boomer, and so I kind of said that. I was like, I know Boomer, but I was like, I really want to train. And he's like, yeah, we'll see. Just come into the gym.
Yeah, but like, you know how it is too. Like now
Yeah,
that
I
you've
know.
been there, like I one of the coaches at our gym, you might know him, Matt Wilkinson. He told me before, he's like, I won't even learn people's names until I see him come for like 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that are like, I want to do this, and then like if they last like 3 days, that's surprising.
Yeah, for sure. No, and like I went like since the first day I started going, I went to every single class, and a couple months into it, like Keith let me just go and train on my own there and stuff. So I think I proved to him that I wanted to. So
yeah. So what I mean, you've got 4 fights, right? So like, how far do you want to take this? Is this what you want to do now? Like, is this your career?
That's a good question. So before August or whenever it was like 100%. I felt like I was gonna go like all the way with it, and it's something that I still want to do, but I've had some health stuff happen. So last about a year ago, I had pulmonary embolisms, which are blood clots in your lungs. And I almost died. But,
wow. Yeah, that's serious.
Yeah, got it taken care of, and I was on blood thinners for a little bit, and then I got off the blood thinners and I've been off the blood thinners for my last 3 fights. And then after my last fight, I got blood clots again, and so it was devastating just because like I felt like I was doing a lot of things to prevent it, and it like didn't feel fair, you know? And so I kind of went into a little bit of a funk, honestly, and I didn't really want to like talk about it with anyone or anything, but I went and saw my specialist, and so we're working out like different ways that I could still continue in the sport. So for right now, I'm able to do jiu-jitsu tournaments. I just have to get off the blood thinners a week before the tournament. So when I'm training on blood thinners, which is super dangerous.
Yeah.
But my teammates, everyone knows. And so it's something that we're just like open, and like they don't hit me hard, and obviously I don't hit them hard either.
I was gonna say that's
But and like with jiu-jitsu isn't too bad at all. Like it's not too dangerous. I don't even think I've had one bruise that was even pretty bad. So I've been smart about it. But my last tournament, I did a jiu-jitsu tournament before all this stuff went down in January. Yeah. And I did that. I got off the blood thinners a week before, and I felt fine. Yeah. And then I also think if I don't cut as much weight, I think I wouldn't get blood clots either. So I want to do a couple of jiu-jitsu tournaments, just getting used to like my body getting used to getting off of them.
Yeah.
And then look at taking a fight maybe winter, maybe later. But it'll be good because I'll be ready. I'll be like so much better than I was my last fight. So
yeah, it's super hard right now. Like I was scheduled to have a rematch fight in June, and I'm finally coming to terms with that probably won't happen. I don't think we're going to see fights and stuff on a local level till this fall.
Yeah. And I really like, that's the thing is I really feel like it's what I'm supposed to do. And so I think that's the hardest thing I've like been dealing with and battling with in my head. Like, okay, well, why is this happening to me? And it's really been extremely like probably one of the hardest things I've had to go through. But about a month ago, I finally just was like, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm not going to just change my life for no reason, you know? And I saw this quote, and it's, don't downgrade your dream just to fit your reality. Upgrade your conviction to match your destiny. And so no matter what obstacles you're facing, like you can find a way through it. And I honestly believe that there's a way that I can do it that's safe, as long as I train safe. Which you shouldn't, in my opinion, you shouldn't be hard sparring every day anyway. So I think if I'm able to do that, then I can go pretty far in the sport. But it's definitely something that I'm having to test, because I also don't want to put myself in danger because of my family and my friends, and how would the gym feel, you know? So there's all these different aspects.
Yeah.
I mean, this sport is not for, this sport is not for the people that kind of be in it halfway in, halfway out. Like,
exactly.
Especially you get to a certain level, you can see the people that are halfway in, halfway out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it starts showing, you know, in the cage even, because when you're not dedicated to the training, I think that's awesome, finding solutions rather than problems that can't be overcome or whatever, but just finding solutions. That's like mentally, it's just like a mindset for me that it's kind of, I've tried to integrate into my life. It's just always finding solutions and not worrying about the problems. Can I circle back to, you said it's big of weight cuts. So because I have some not so fun weight cuts, but you fight at 125, correct?
Yeah.
How big of weight cuts are we talking here?
Well,
you can't ask a woman that, Zach.
She's a fighter.
She's
a fighter.
All right.
Hey, I'm not going to treat our female fighter guests any different than the male fighter guests.
Amen.
That's a question I'd ask anybody.
And I'm super honest about that stuff. Well, it kind of depends. Because sometimes I'm at like a really good weight for a weight cut. And sometimes I'm like, I kind of, the thing for me, the training, I'll train 7 hours a day, like, and I'll love it. And I'll go in extra and I'll put in all this work. But I really, really, really like ice cream and pizza and nachos. And
who doesn't?
Hey,
exactly.
I do too.
So, and Keith always like jokes to me. He's like, stay out of the fast food restaurants. I'm like, dude, you can't say that to me. But, so my best weight cut was when I fought for that title, when I fought for the Mountain Force title. And I cut down from 138 a week out.
Oh, okay.
That's a pretty big weight cut.
Yeah, but I think the day of I only cut like 1 or 2 pounds.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. And so, because the way I have my master's degree in exercise science and sports nutrition.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So I like have it all calculated on how to do it. And so, like a week out, I cut my carbs. I start cutting my carbs out. And then 5 days out, I cut them under 30 grams. And because I'm eating carbs throughout my entire training, that alone drops like 8 pounds, because they retain 1 gram of carbs.
No kidding.
1 gram of carbs holds 3 ounces of water.
3 ounces of water. Yep.
Yep. So
a lot of math.
Yeah. But see, I'm probably the only person in this world who enjoys cutting weight, because I think it's so
Might be.
I think it is so cool, like how you can just push your body. And I think if I could walk at like 135, it would be a super easy weight cut. And so that's my goal, is to get there before I take another fight.
Good. I mean, that's awesome. I'm just like, I'm looking at your past fights and stuff. So you started off with a tough loss.
Yeah. So it was impossible to find a fight, like a first fight. Like they would see that I played softball, and they would, and I think it just scared a lot of girls. Just
really,
I had an athletic background.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I couldn't find a fight. And then one of my old coaches from Montana, he reached out to a promoter for King of the Cage, and we went. And so we went all the way to San Diego for my first fight, and I took a fight against a 3-0 chick.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and she was good. Like she was good, and I think that I would have done a lot better if I would have got out of like the situation I was in. She mounted me, and like right when I was pushing the knee down to escape, they stopped it. But at the same time, it's like I shouldn't have been in that position. But I I really feel like taking the fight though, that I could have competed with her. I wouldn't take a fight, put myself in danger if I didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
But
And she had a good amateur career. Like if you go look it up, she went 5-0 as an amateur and now is 1-1 as a pro.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I had to go all the way out there for that fight. And so it was a really cool experience to like fight on King of the Cage and for my first fight. And I was on the front of the poster. I was like, what the heck is this?
Heck yeah.
Well, it's cool too, because you kind of see right off the bat like where you're at too. Like obviously, like that's probably a lot higher level competition than most people get for their very first fight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so that was we went to San Diego and then we came back, and I was devastated after that one because I really felt like I could have done a lot better. And I kind of like, for me, a loss isn't like a loss for me. I could care less, but it's for my coaches. Like I felt so bad that I couldn't like show off the training that Keith and Brandon and all those guys have put me through. And so that's kind of what hurt me the most. Is I don't feel like I disappointed them, but at the same time, I felt like I didn't show off what like I'm capable of.
You're the third person to say that from that gym on the podcast.
Yeah.
You guys have a very tight knit group out there in Tooele.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Zach. Were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say it is different because like I mean I didn't play like collegiately or pro of anything, but I was football, baseball, basketball like all the way through high school and stuff. And I'd never done or participated in a sport that it's like, obviously we have training partners and it's a team sport, but when you're in there, it's kind of just you versus them. Like,
oh yeah,
you have your coaches, but it's like, oh, I remember throwing a fit in a high school football game once because like, I don't think he listens to this. My quarterback wasn't, I played wide receiver in high school and I just was getting really mad. Like my quarterback, like I just felt like he wasn't looking for me. Like, and I threw a freaking fit on the sideline like a baby about it. And, but it's so cool that I love being in a sport where it's just me. Mm-hmm. I don't have to worry about my teammates.
I think that's why I love this sport so much is because my whole life I have like worked harder than every single person on my softball team, and every coach I've ever had will say that. But after losing, it's so frustrating in a softball game because I'm like, well, you're out. Like some of my college teammates, I'm like, you're out drinking all every single night when we have practice and games, you know. And it was frustrating. It was really frustrating, and like I tried to lead by example, but it still was super frustrating. And in this sport, it's like what I do affects me. Yeah. And I think that's the coolest part about it.
If your teammates come a little bit hungover to practice, it just means you get to beat them up harder, right?
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, that's for me. Like that's been one of the most appealing things for me. Mm-hmm. Then you went on a nice little win streak, and I've noticed you fought 4 fights for 4 different promotions.
Yeah.
Can I ask what your favorite one to fight for was?
Honestly, I would say King of the Cage just because of the whole, like, flying. They flew us out to San Diego, put us up in a casino. Cool. Yeah, we were up in a casino and, like, on TV. The only thing that I hated about that was after we made weight, they made us take pictures before everyone rehydrated because they wanted us to look at our skinniest.
No.
For the pictures, yes. And it was like, and I didn't really care because it was a catch weight at 130, and that was really, really easy for me. Yeah. And but the girl I was fighting was like laying on the floor being a baby.
Really?
And they're like, just let us eat. And they're like, wait, we just need like 5 more pictures, and then 5 turned into 20.
Sounds like my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Wait, we need a picture.
And then the day of the fight, like I think it was delayed like an hour or something, and it was an outside fight, which was kind of cool. But
that would be cool.
San Diego outside.
Yeah, I don't know though. I think outside of them like starving us to make us look better.
Yeah.
I think the experience was the coolest, but and my fight is on UFC Fight Pass.
That is cool.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna go watch it. I have Fight Pass up right now. I have Fight Pass up right now.
You're gonna pull.
I got beat in the first round. Like, it was so embarrassing. And then my video online has like 15,000 views. Like, no.
I have Fight Pass on right
That's
now.
awesome.
Let's go find it.
So I put a why Zach's trying to look for that. So we put a little question Q&A thing on Facebook, and Keith told us something that I didn't know about you, and I'm kind of excited for you to tell us a little bit about. He said that you are a singer, songwriter, and a comedian. So you do stand-up comedy too? Is this real, or is he?
No, I want to. So I have a bucket list with a bunch of things I want to do. Like, I want to take a nap in a mattress store. Like, there's a few things I want to do that I'm gonna do, and like, that's the thing. When I put something on that list, it's gonna get done. And I think that I'm funny, and I don't really care if other people don't. But I'm gonna go do.
Might care if you bomb.
Yeah.
No, you won't. You'll do great.
I'll lead it off with like, I'm an MMA fighter, then they won't give me a hard time.
That's right. They'll beat you up.
Yeah, there's not going to be too many people that are going to backtalk you for that one. So what? And you sing too?
Yeah.
And write songs?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anywhere? Can we find them online anywhere?
Yeah. I just posted 2 in the past. Like,
I thought I saw
3
something
days.
about that.
Yeah. I just posted 2 in the past 3 days. It's something that I kind of went away from in college. I did it a lot, and I had a few gigs, and I'd probably go perform like once a week, and
Wow.
it was something that I really liked, and it's cool to like write a song and be able to convey like how you're feeling,
Yeah.
But with all this free time on my hands, I mean, I always play the guitar, but I've been doing it a lot more in the past like month, and so been doing that.
Do you have your guitar close?
Yeah.
You got to play a song for us.
You know what the move is. You need to write your own walkout song.
Yeah.
Okay, so in softball, you have your walk-up song, right?
Yeah.
I wrote my own my senior year of college.
Really?
That's cool.
And everybody knew it. Everyone knew it at the school, and like I'd walk down like the hall or something, and someone would just shout it out. I'm like, oh my gosh. And at my boxing match, they were all like chanting it.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. I forgot.
Cool.
Yeah, he did mention that you did boxing too. So you've had boxing fights and MMA fights.
Yeah, and boxing is probably what I started with it, and I feel like it's probably my strongest. I don't know if it's my strongest actually, but yeah, I enjoy boxing. It's fun.
How many boxing fights have you had?
3.
Really? I never knew that. I mean, he put that in the comments, but
that was kind of more like prior to moving out here.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's also another thing I've thought about, is maybe doing a couple boxing matches before I take another MMA fight.
Yeah.
But I don't know yet.
All right.
I think like amateurs for learning, right? So while you're amateur, getting as much experience as possible. I even think the jiu-jitsu tournaments,
yeah.
I wanted to kind of take a break from fighting and starting to compete more in jiu-jitsu and stuff. It just hasn't really worked out. And then this stupid virus.
Yeah,
that's screwing up all my plans.
I'm hoping that I want to do the state tournament if it still happens, and then I want to do like a national tournament, a couple national tournaments while I'm a blue belt, and try to do something.
Did we get our blue belt at the same time? When did you get your blue belt?
February. Yeah, last February.
Yeah.
But when I was a white belt, I went to the state tournament right before that, and they were like, "Oh, you have to compete as a blue belt." So I went against a 4-stripe blue belt.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
why?
And I beat her.
Did you really?
And I won state. For the blue belt division.
All right.
Really?
Yeah, I won state for the blue belt division as a white belt, and then Gustavo gave me my belt on the podium, but I got promoted at that thing.
There you go.
I still don't have a stripe.
How often do you train?
I I try to make every gi class. I think gi's my favorite. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because I hate it.
Yeah, I'm
like
not a gi
it.
fan.
I like it because I have a little bit more of a chance against like bigger guys and stronger guys.
I think I just hate
like
it. Anytime like I get caught in an arm bar because somebody has my sleeve and I can't get my arm out, or I get choked by like a lapel, or somebody's controlling me with a belt or whatever. I'm like, you don't have this in a fight. Like this doesn't happen in a fight.
I do hate lapel chokes, but
I get super irritated with that stuff.
I like sweeps. I like gi sweeps. I think that's my favorite.
It's hard for me because it's a different sport.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, it's a completely different sport. Like gi jujitsu versus MMA is a completely different sport.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get me and I'm like, if you tried this in a fight, I just punch you in the face and I promise you let go.
Yeah. I mean, you could say the same about no gi too, though. Right?
Yeah, for sure. A little bit, but at least it's like, I'm not got their hand up in my, in my lapel. Stupid. I'm having a hard time finding this.
Uh-oh.
So I'm not saying, I'm sorry if I'm a little distracted, but I'm pretty determined on finding this.
That was a long time ago.
It couldn't have been that long.
It's like 2018.
That long ago, Jocey.
That feels like forever ago.
So Keith also said you're a pain in his ass out there too. So what?
He always says that he's like, she might only be a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, but she has her brown belt in shit talking. Shit talking.
Are you the biggest shit talker out there?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Like, yeah. And I don't back it up. But Keith is probably gonna get pissed at me for saying this, but
say it.
We were wrestling and I lat dropped him.
Yeah. Heard it on the Damage Plan MMA podcast.
And he was so like, it was so funny. And he was like, what the heck? And now every single time we wrestle, he tries to lat drop me. And he succeeds a lot. And every time he makes a big deal out of it.
It's also quite a bit bigger. I mean, it's like, come on, man. It's like, come on, bro.
Bully.
Yeah. And then I'll be like, I'll say all skill after.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's fun though. I think I'm definitely shy at first. Like going into the gym, I was super shy, but after getting to know everyone, that's just my personality. I talk a lot of crap, but in a joking way. I don't mean it. Like I don't mean it. I just think it's funny.
You kind of have to like there's not that many females in the sport.
Yeah.
Right?
No, not really.
Like we only have I think Maddie's the only girl that like trains with us now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, she's in a room full of guys and she trains with guys. Like you just kind of have to like figure out your spot to just fit in. And she beats the crap out of all of us. And I'm sure you give it to the guys plenty. So what are the things that before you compete and before you fight, where in your game would you most like to improve in?
I would honestly, I would say attitude, I feel like the hardest thing I have when it comes to fighting is wanting to actually punch someone in the face.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So for me, what I enjoy most about fights is the preparation. I think it's so cool to look at their old fights and kind of pick it apart, right? And then nutrition and cutting weight, trying to be at that optimal weight for the fight and making sure that you're in good shape. I think that's my favorite part of the fight, is preparing for it. And then in the fight, I think too strategically, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think too strategically, and I think more I want to get points versus I want to kill this person. But I think you need a balance. I think if you go in there and you just try to kill that person, then you're going to blow your energy in that first round, and you're probably going to you might knock them out, but you're not going to be as controlled. And if you're able to have a good balance, then I think that would really help me, because my last fight, for instance, I could have finished her like 4 times and I just didn't. I think I was too scared of like losing position, or I don't even know, but just changing my attitude to where I am in there to like fight, but still be strategic at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally, because it's a really hard thing to balance. There's a few. Okay, I mean, I'm not going to get into it. It's been covered plenty. But in my last fight, probably the biggest mistake I made is I was way too aggressive and I didn't fight smart at all. I threw my whole fight camp and training like completely out the window, and just like meathead just like walked forward and just swung as hard as I could for almost 2 rounds.
Yeah. Well, and it's easy to do that too. Like I don't think people understand, like when you're in that cage and when that cage door shuts, like most of my fights I've looked across and I'm like, why the heck am I doing this? Like, what am I doing? But then I'm like, oh wait, yeah, I like this, you know? And I don't mind getting punched in the face either. Like that's, I think, another downfall is I don't really care. I'm like, oh, go ahead and punch you in the face. It didn't hurt.
Yeah.
And just, I trade too much. So there's a few things I definitely want to focus on, but I've kind of been training differently in the sense that I'm kind of more, instead of just like nice, I guess, or like all the time, I kind of, during that 5-minute roll or during that like 3-minute sparring, 5-minute sparring, whatever we're doing, I'm super focused and thinking strategically, but also thinking like how I want to in the cage without hurting my teammates, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, that's a hard part too. Like it's so hard because like you said, I actually agree with you. It's super important not to like hard spar in training. I think it's dumb. I think like we know enough about brain injuries and stuff now. Like it's not smart, but like at some point, like you do have to like simulate that, like getting in the fire, like a fight. And there's just nothing quite like it.
Well, I think, and that's what I've been trying to do in training, is mentally think like that punch could have hurt, right? And so every time I'm getting hit, I'm thinking like that's bad. And then I think that mindset has really helped me improve a lot. I think I've improved a ton from my last fight, and I think a lot of that is just due to that mindset. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's such a balance, fighting smart versus fighting aggressive. Yeah. And it's almost impossible. And I think it's a constant journey that you see. I just watched like the top 10 fights in UFC history that were like brawls. You know, it's like the Gilbert Melendez versus like Diego Sanchez, and Clay Guida versus Diego, and Brian Stan versus Vanderlei Silva. Like all these fights where they just like meathead just like plant their feet and bite down on their mouthpiece and just start swinging. Yeah. It's like, it's not really it's not really MMA. That's just,
it's a bar fight.
Yeah, it's a bar fight. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, but I don't know. It's a tough balance, but fortunately for both of us, and you know, you being the guest on the show, like you have really good coaches that can help with that.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is I feel like with what I have going on health-wise with my blood clots and being on blood thinners, I don't think that there could be a better gym for me to still be able to do this out of, because I think in order to really make a successful career out of it, I have to have people that I can go hard against, that I know won't lose their cool and won't throw a hard punch at me. Yeah. You know, because that could be detrimental. Like I could die from getting hit hard.
Yeah.
And, so I think being from that gym, we're so tight knit that I know for a fact there's people that I could just go super hard against and be able to get that feeling of the real fight without putting myself in danger.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but the closer I get to fights, I have partners that I won't train with.
Oh yeah.
Because I know it'll escalate into something that if I don't have a fight that's a couple months out, then it's fine. Like it can escalate and it can just be whatever. But
see, we don't have that many people to choose from.
That's probably.
But they are loyal, so.
Yeah. No, you guys have a really tight knit group, and it's nice. But it's like I've been there. I'm not going to call them out or say any names, but before my first fight, I was knocked out cold the weekend before my first fight on my last sparring day.
Yeah.
And I should not have fought my first fight. Like I for sure had a concussion, you know? So training partners is hard, but you have a great gym with a lot of really good fighters, and you have guys that like Zach, you can kind of beat up on, and you know that they can play
Zach
nice.
doesn't let anyone beat up on him. He's a bully.
Is he?
Oh,
Yes.
oh, the truth is coming out, Cavender. The heavyweight champ is a bully.
Just kidding. He just like when we spar and stuff and he's there, it's like half the mat is Zach because his reach is so big.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna go and like I either have to get inside or stay way away from him or else. But no, he's not a bully. He's nice.
I can't find it.
You're still looking for
it.
It might not still be on there.
I'm on the King of the Cage replays, and I'm looking for it.
Type my name into Google.
I did. I tried. Well, I'm on the app.
It pops up.
Okay, I'll find it. Anyways, we'll give it.
Everyone listening, do not go watch it.
Everybody go watch it.
Don't.
No.
We're gonna post that and your singing videos.
Go watch my highlight.
We're gonna tag your fight, some singing videos, all of it in the damn.
Some softball videos.
Softball. So, what were your favorite moments in your fights? Like you have 2 wins. One of them against one of my friends, Chandra. I love her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I'm pretty close with her family. And I don't know anything about Casey Pearson, but what were those fights like, and what were some of your favorite moments from your highlights from your wins?
So, Sandra, she was my first fight coming off of blood thinners, and and so it was kind of like nerve-wracking in the sense that it was like I've waited forever, right, for this. And then the first round, it was only 1 round, but the first round, I threw a 1-2, which is super like predictable. And I'm sure they were just waiting for it, but she countered it and clocked me with a 2. And I was like, holy cow. I'm like, my head kind of went fuzzy. And I was like, what the heck? And so I kind of got my distance because I was like, I need to keep my cool and kind of regain my consciousness. I don't know.
Composure.
Yeah, composure. And Keith yelled 1-2 switch kick to the liver, and I always catch people with that in practice. Like I think there's been like 4 guys that I've dropped with liver kicks, like throwing them like 25%. I don't know why. It must be like the angle I kick at. I don't know. Anyways, so I threw it and it landed. And then I was like, okay, this is easy. I don't even have to get close to her if I kick her.
Yeah.
And then I threw another one, and then she circled away. And then I threw another 2, and then she was against the cage, and then I threw a big overhand and it dropped her, and that was so cool. Like I was like, I've never like dropped someone with just 1 punch, and it was really cool.
I'm jealous. I'm still waiting for that in my life.
And then it's my softball throw, you know. After all my wins, I don't do it after every fight, but after I win, I do like a little softball throw.
Nice.
But and then against Casey Pierce, so when we actually signed that contract before my fight against Sandra, and it was like 28 days after. So,
oh wow.
Yeah. So we were just hoping that like I wasn't going to take any damage. And but Keith was like, he sent me her stuff, and he's like, she's a good fighter, she's an all-around fighter like you. And then I kind of like looked her up, and she had really good jiu-jitsu, and it seemed like everyone was making a really big deal like out of her, like she was going to be the next big thing, you know. So I'm like, holy cow, like what? But I love challenges, and so I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I think just knowing that I was going against someone who had that good of jiu-jitsu, it's something that I practiced a lot more in wrestling and stuff. And then in the fight, in the first round, we kind of both just danced around a little bit, and every single time she'd throw a combo, I'd counter, and I didn't really start off a bunch. And then at the end of the second round, she finally tried to shoot a takedown. and I stuffed it and put her in the crucifix and started hitting her. But it was so cool because I was like, this girl has all this, right, jiu-jitsu, and I don't know what her wrestling background was, but I kind of just got a lot of confidence. And then going into the third round, I looked across the cage and I saw how tired she was, and I wasn't tired at all. I was doing like tuck jumps in between each round. So I went in and I kind of just let it loose, and then I kept hitting her with my right, and then she was like trying to run, and somehow she tore her ACL.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I think regardless I would have finished her in that fight. I don't know if that's
that
like
was the Mountain Force fight, right?
If I remember watching it right,
that was Mountain Force.
I don't know if that's okay to say.
Oh, 100% it's okay to say.
Yeah.
I think I would have finished her that round, but it was really cool too, because I mean, when I hit her, she dropped, and so I was like, oh sweet, I dropped another one, but it was her ACL. So but
yeah, I remember that fight. Yeah,
could have been a mix.
I was there. Yeah.
I think I've seen the video of it, and yeah, you were beating her up pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say.
Yes.
So are you a big fan of like watching the UFC and like fighting and stuff?
Yeah, so my with anything, I have my master's degree, but I'm the worst at remembering things.
Okay.
Yeah, like names or like events, but I don't know why, but that's just how I am. But I do love watching it. We always get together for UFC fights, and the whole gym goes and watches it. And we have like a little potluck, and we'll watch them. We've watched them a couple times in the gym. And then I try to go to most of the local shows. Pretty much have a teammate on every single show anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah. I try to go to most of those, and then I watch most of the fights, I would say. But if you start like dropping facts, I'm not going to be able to keep up.
I'm not asking you to drop facts, but I'm just going to ask you, like, who are some of your favorite fighters that you like to watch? Like, so if it's something you want to do, also, do you like watch the women at like 125 pounds and and you're like, I could beat her? Do you ever do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Or I'll look at Keith and I'm like, Keith, do you think I could beat her? He's like, just keep training. He doesn't say that. But yeah, I definitely watch 125. And then I remember when Amanda Nunes knocked out, who did she knock out? See?
Which one? Chris Cyborg?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was at 135, right?
That was at 145.
Okay, yeah. I was like, at least she's not in my weight class.
Big girl.
Like,
that's a big girl that hits. I think she knocked out a lot of dudes at that weight class.
She is fun to watch, though. I think she's someone I kind of want to emulate in the sense of my I can't even think
style.
Not style, but just like attitude and mindset in the cage. I think she's smart and she's thinking like calculated, but at the same time, like she just wants to murder that other person. And I think I watch her a lot in that aspect, that I kind of want to take that on when that cage shuts.
If you watch the fight with Cyborg, that was like the one thing that I felt like she did really good was Cyborg actually hit her and she like circled and like regathered herself and like started to execute her game plan. But when she cracked Cyborg just bit down on her mouthpiece and started walking forward and she got lit up. It was like one had like the discipline to go with their aggression and the other one didn't.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my very first fight. That's what happened is I caught her with a good straight right, and I kind of got confident, and then she hit me hard and I kind of got like that dizzy feeling, and I just went straight at her. And then before I knew it, the fight was over. And then when I fought Sandra, she hit me and I got that dizzy feeling. I was like, oh shoot, I need to get out of here for a second, And so I think that's just something that comes with experience, but also knowing how to like the balance, right?
Yep. I mean, yeah, it's hard. I think it's so fun to, I don't know. So do you remember your fights like in the moment?
Yeah, like, I pretty much,
can you replay them in your head? Cause I can't mine.
Yeah, I can.
I have
Probably
to
too much.
I have to go back and like watch them. I have like snapshots of mine.
Yeah.
Like I can remember like thinking certain things and during them or whatever, but I mostly remember what happened in my fights because I can go back and watch the video.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, my last fight. Did you guys watch that one?
Yep.
Sure did.
I was there.
Yeah. I was very upset after that one too. But I haven't went back and watched it. Like I have not brought myself to be able to go back and watch it yet because I was just so disappointed in myself. But I think before I do have another fight, I think that's something that I have to do is I think I have to watch it and kind of just face the fact that I lost. Like I lost. And I don't think it was the losing that made me upset is I just feel like I didn't execute the game plan and I was thinking way too much and I was scared to shoot a takedown when I would have beat her. I was beating her on the ground, you know? And
Yeah.
so,
Well, and that was your first time going 5 rounds too, right?
yeah, but I didn't feel that tired.
No?
No.
You don't feel like that played into it at all?
No, not really. I think if anything, she was more tired than me, but I could think of 4 different times where I could have finished her and I just didn't. And, that was really frustrating.
That stings a little, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the feeling. But back to the UFC stuff. So who are some of your favorite fighters besides Nunez, like guys and stuff? And then I want 3 fights that, like, if you could play matchmaker with the UFC, that you want to see happen.
You're asking so.
That's not statistics.
Kind of.
Kind of not. You know what? I'm like an encyclopedia. No, okay. I'm like an encyclopedia with this stuff. Jason's really good at
it. John Jones versus Mighty Mouse.
Good fight.
Hey, so let's roll with it. Did you see the thing we posted in the podcast group about what was it, UFC 255 with Khabib versus the Bear 2?
Yeah, see, I would start naming people who aren't even in the same weight classes, and then I would really get crap from my gym. They already give me a lot of crap.
We don't want that. So who are some of just your other favorite fighters?
It's hard. Like I feel like when I watch it, I kind of more watch it like stylistically, right? Like okay. I like watching Khabib because I think it's like so cool how he can just hold someone like against the cage for so long and just tire him out. Like the whole aspect of it is really cool. I really like Jessica Clark.
Yeah.
I feel like she's someone who I kind of compare myself a lot to.
Okay.
And,
that's a good one. I think that's a good comparison.
Yeah. And so I really like watching her mainly because I compare myself to her a lot, but I think she also like presents herself really well. And I think that's something I want to be able to do as well. But let's see. And then I think John Jones too, stylistically, it's cool how he's able to use his reach and keep people away.
Do you like Conor McGregor?
I like watching him fight.
Yeah.
I think same thing. Like I think he's so like I try to mimic a lot of his counters. And
yeah, he's one of the best.
Yeah, so I mimic a lot of stuff that he does, and I think he's really fun to watch. And I don't know if I would say I'm a Conor fan.
Can you mimic the walk?
Oh no, I don't do that. I think someone at one of the local shows, someone did that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's embarrassing.
Well,
I hope they're not listening.
I hope they are. My 8-year-old son takes off his shirt and does it all over our house.
Yeah, not in the cage. You can't do that.
He would.
It's his signature.
Yeah, that's what he always tells me. He's like, Dad, when you win, you should do the Conor walk around the cage. I'm like,
Conor walk. You got to get some tattoos though.
You gotta have your own thing. Like I do a softball throw. You know.
That's cool.
That is pretty damn cool.
Well, do you have any sponsors or anybody that you want to shout out? You're with Bad, right?
Yeah.
And that's with Caitlyn?
Yeah, Caitlyn
Neal, tell us about that.
So she reached out to me a little bit before my last fight, and she was preparing for a fight, and she asked if I could come spar with her because we're in the same weight class. And okay. I was like, sure. And I was supposed to be fighting Sadie Alt in like a month. And
oh yeah.
But anyway, so I went to the gym and I sparred against her, and her coaches were like, what? Like, you're such a good training partner for her. And so I kind of just kept going and sparring with her to give her a good look. But it also helped me to compare myself to someone at that higher level. And then Sadie Hall ended up dropping out my fight. But
We don't have to talk about that if you don't
no.
want.
Yeah.
Is that a sore subject?
No, it's okay. I think that she had good reasons for it. So
Yeah, that's really cool because Caitlyn's like she's probably, you know, she's a pretty big name for like local MMA stuff.
Oh yeah.
She's a really good fighter. I fought on the same card with her last year when she did her steel fist fight. She obviously has a really big following and social media following.
Yeah. And she presents herself really well. I really like she's not, I feel like as a girl, as a female in this in this industry, it's really easy to subject to like posting pictures that are sexy, right? Or something that men are going to want to like follow. And I think you see a lot of girls do that and like sell themselves short. And so I tend to really look up to the girls who don't do that, because I don't think as a girl that's something that you have to do. Or and if you want to do it, then so be it. You know, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's something that you should have to do. And so that's something I admire in Caitlyn, is how big of a name she is and her social media presence. And she hasn't put her character in question at all. She carries herself really well.
Yeah, she's awesome. I know she's a big fan. The funniest was about her at my fight. That was the first MMA event my dad had ever been to, and by the end of it, he was like a big fan of hers. It was hilarious, and so was my sister, who doesn't even live here. She came up from Texas for that fight,
Cool.
and they're all now they like follow her career and stuff. But I think you're right. It's because of the way she carries herself and the way that she is that she just draws in a lot of fans.
Yeah, for sure.
And what other sponsors or anything else you got going? Anything else you'd like to share?
I do have a list of them that we talked about, Jocelyn. I'll make sure they get on the show notes when we post this. But yes, please go ahead and go through all your sponsors and how to get a hold of them.
Okay, so I have Bad Athletics, which we just talked about. They have supplements, protein powder, aminos, energy, clothing, a bunch of different things. But if you use my code BADJocyJ, you can get 10% off whatever deal they have going on. So check that out.
Sweet.
And then CBD, Amberry Gardens, they have like all different CBD products, and I've kind of been posting about them recently. And if you use my code JocyJ, you can get 15% off anything off their website, which is a pretty good deal for CBD. And I really enjoy their products. And then you got the foodie realtor. She pretty much helps all of us out.
She's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. She is just a good person too. And like I gave her a meal plan and stuff, just because
awesome.
I feel like she's giving to everyone else. I'm like, I'm gonna give back to you.
Yeah.
Here's a personalized meal plan.
That's
that
awesome.
costs a lot of money. Yeah. And then I have Battle Fight Gear. They've been with me from the beginning, just gearing me up. They sent me boxing shorts for my boxing fights, and then they gave me my MMA outfits. And then I have Girl Clothing with Courtney Olson. That's an awesome company. They sponsor Holly Holm, Rose. Who's the Asian chick who just won the title? I can't say her name.
Wei Li Zhang.
I can't say her name. They sponsor her too. And the owner of that company, she's really awesome. And I've had a ton of conversations with her. And whenever I need anything, she'll send stuff my way. And then Combo Hitter, Brad Kohler. He's a UFC vet back when it was the combat sport days. And he's awesome. He actually came out to my last fight, and they have
no kidding.
Yeah. And they have the combo. He has the Combo Hitter, which is really cool. You can just put it up on your wall. I post a lot of videos punching that too. And then Wild Mountain Ink screen printing. If you need t-shirts or anything, contact them. And then Excellence in Elevation Massage. Her name's Emily. She trains at the gym, and she is awesome. She's been hooking me up with massages since I've been doing this and making sure that I'm ready to go. And then I train obviously at Tooele Martial Arts Academy, and then Gustavo Rodriguez Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, those guys are all right out there in Tooele. Keith and Brandon are they're all right.
Yeah,
nah.
Brandon's just fun to punch in the face. That's the only reason. Kidding.
I don't know if you listen to the podcast. I'm going to put a lot of heat on him to make sure that he fights in the next little while.
Yeah, he's been saying that. I think he will, and I think he will do really well. He hits
I'm
so
sure
hard.
he will.
Yeah.
Even when he's like going soft, he hits me. I'm like, what the heck, dude?
Don't you love those training partners? And like, I feel like I'm going light. I'm like, yeah well, my face says otherwise.
Yeah.
Cool it.
And that's why I don't fight, folks.
Yeah. No, Brandon's fun though, because I can just punch him as hard as I want, and he doesn't care. So.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Well, it was really good to get to know you a little bit more and talk with you, and we appreciate you coming on the show.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Yes. Thanks a lot, Jocey. We appreciate it. All right. I will stop the recording.